Great. Okay, y'all. So we are now broadcasting, and what that means again, closed captioning, but also recording. And then we're also just gonna wait for attendees to fill up a bit. Awesome. Hello, y'all. We are going to get started in just a hot second as we get more attendees. I would say no more than 2 minutes from now, I will officially introduce myself. We're excited to have y'all here, and we'll get started with the webinar. I know most of you are probably really interested in being able to talk to the current students, and so a little less than halfway through today, we'll have a Q&A, and I encourage you to already utilize the Q&A function at the bottom if you have any questions or anything that pops up for you throughout the conversation. Thank you. Okay, we're still having a few more folks join us. All right, I think we can get started. Hello again for folks that have been here with us for a few minutes, for folks that are just joining, hello. To officially introduce myself, my name is Jaquise Waters. I enjoy she, her, and hers as my pronouns, and I'm one of the associate directors within Multicultural Affairs here at Columbia. I saw that someone raised their hand. If you have a question or any need that maybe we can answer, utilize your Q&A function at the very bottom of your screen. Folks should be able to see that. Feel free to just plug something in there, and then we're happy to answer it as we go on. Perfect. So again, Jaquise Waters, Multicultural Affairs within undergraduate student life, and I am here with y'all because I oversee students of color programming on campus, as well as one of our residential halls or special interest communities on campus, the Intercultural Resource Center, which I'll talk about before we wrap up. We have the next hour to chat with y'all, and so basically just giving you a brief breakdown of what it's going to look like. In a moment, I'm going to ask the current students that are with me to just briefly introduce themselves. And I'm then going to share my screen and just go over, I have a few slides so you can learn a little bit more about multicultural affairs and students of color programming. My hope and goal is that I give or leave at least 30 minutes for y'all to chat with these current folks and ask any and all questions that you may have about what it's like to be on campus in these specific identities and any other identities, just in general, if you're seeking to know a little bit more about Columbia. So at this time, for my 4 current students, would y'all like to introduce yourselves?
I would. Hi, everyone. My name is Jayla Alston. I'm a rising junior in Columbia College. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm double majoring in economics and ethnicity and race studies. My sweatshirt says Black Economists Matter, because we do. And I'm ready to join y'all and answer your questions.
Perfect. Thank you. Jayla, would you like to pick the next person to chat and introduce themselves?
Imad, the love of my life, will you do it?
Hi, everybody. My name is Ahmad Shawnishi. I'm a junior at Columbia College, double majoring in economics and Middle Eastern studies, and I'm very excited to answer any questions that everybody might have.
Awesome. Next person.
Hey y'all, I'm Vero. I use any pronouns. I'm a rising junior majoring in creative writing and a concentration in ethnicity and race studies. So if you have any questions on those things, also I'm very deeply involved in Queer Life on Community. So if you have any questions about those as well, like feel free to ask any and everything you might want to know. Okay, cool.
Perfect. And last but not least, Max. Oh, Max may have run out. Okay, we'll have Max introduce himself later on because we will get an opportunity to reintroduce each other. So at this time, I'm going to share out my screen. Again, I have a few slides. I see that a few Q&As or questions have already popped up. Continue to plug those in. When we get to the Q&A section, we're going to have our current students answer those. Thank you. Oh, actually, here's Max. Hey, Max, would you like to introduce yourself to the group? Max, can you hear me?
Yes.
Would you like to just briefly introduce yourself to the group?
Oh, yeah, sorry. My name is Max. I'm a rising sophomore in Columbia College, potential major in statistics and economics. Should I talk about like on-campus activities?
Not right now, just a brief intro, but when we get into it in a little bit, yes, I'd love all of you to share how you're involved. Yes.
Something else I wanted to add, because there's not engineers here, but I switched from C's to CC. So if you have any questions on engineering, I can also answer those. Or if you have questions on switching, I can answer those.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, I'm going to share this. Try and make it as brief as possible, y'all, and then we'll jump back into the Q&A piece, the really important piece as far as I'm concerned. So give me one moment. Can folks see my screen? Thumbs up, perfect. So I am now going to share this with y'all. So again, we are here to I'm going to briefly go over Students of Color programming on campus, specifically related to multicultural affairs, the office that I am housed in. Cute little photo from a Student of Color retreat a few moons ago. Multicultural affairs, we're located in 2 different locations. We are on the 5th floor of Lerner, and so for those that may be coming onto campus in a few weeks, feel free to check out Lerner, check out the 5th floor. As we all know, it won't be a traditional academic year as far as the physical presence of both your peers and staff, and Lerner isn't going anywhere as a building. Check it out. It just may be a little more deserted than what you can anticipate in the spring semester / your years to come at Columbia. So we're housed within Lerner 5th floor, and we just this past academic year renamed it the Audre Lorde Community Space and had a really great ceremony where Lorde's daughter came, and we were able to dedicate it to her memory and her legacy, which is really, really dope. We are also housed, and this is specifically where my office is located, in the Intercultural Resource Center. The Intercultural Resource Center is connected to the Intercultural House, which we can talk about again later on. It's a special interest community for residents at Columbia, and then because it has this IRC connection, there's also a lot of programming really focused on, in particular, social justice content coming from the IRC, and again, a connection to multicultural affairs. Perfect. So we have some focus areas within the office. Our areas, I'm going to talk again a little more in depth about Students of Color at Columbia, but we also have programming that takes place and staff members that focus on LGBTQ at Columbia programming, international at Columbia programming, FLY, which is our first gen and low income programming. Below this, you'll see some indicators of some of the programming that we've put on, both annually, some standard programming, as well as kind of one-off events. And then in addition to these 4 at Columbia programming areas, we also have a diversity education and training. This is where, for anyone who's interested in maybe joining us for one of our virtual safe zone trainings, or virtual anti-racism training, unconscious bias, several other things pop up. We will have them in the fall. They will be virtual. Normally they're in person like many of these other programs, but this is that other area. So we have the app programming, and then we also have some training and education that's for the larger community. And I think that really hits on then our approach to supporting students. So we're going to specifically think about students of color at Columbia in this moment. And our approach as an office, and then within our at Columbia areas, really falls under a intra-community, inter-community, and then community advancement little sphere. I am going to really focus on the intra and inter community. And so the inter community are programs that we have throughout the academic year that anyone can join us for. And then intra community is specifically for our communities of color, some of them being affinity spaces for a specific race and or ethnicity. Or identity, and then others just being an affinity space for folks of color. Some of the programming that I think hits on a mixture of the intra and inter community piece. We have a welcome back party generally at the end of, or at the beginning of every academic year. What that may look like, not sure. Generally, this is in partnership with Cush, the university's hip hop society. They play the music, we bring the food, and we have it in the IRC for folks to come and join. We've done quite a bit and will undoubtedly continue to do a lot around mental health awareness within communities of color, in particular thinking about violence that's consistently perpetuated against folks of color, and in particular is getting amplified in this summer when we think of Black communities due to social media, right? None of this is new. I think the amplification is what's nuanced. We're really gonna focus on what does mental health look like for communities of color and continue that. And so look out for that. I'll have some more information about how you can join our listserv at the end of this slide. And that listserv generally provides weekly updates and announcements for programming and other things that are popping up, not only in multicultural affairs, but also related to students of color within different areas on campus, or different offices on campus, I should say. We've annually had a students and faculty of color dinner. We have a lot of outings that generally take place. Again, this is where it's gonna look different this year, and I apologize for that, y'all. We are in a pandemic, unfortunately. And then we have consistently a few study breaks every semester. We've had an anti-racism teach-in. It was a day-long activity that happened last spring, and really myself and another colleague within my office were able to develop that into a consistent 2-hour training that now is housed within diversity education within our office. So those are just an example of some of the programs that, again, consistently take place, as well as may have just been one event here and there. And all of these events, for the most part, are available to all Columbia students, with the nuance of when we say an affinity space like a students and faculty of color dinner, we specifically want folks that are identifying as folks of color to attend that program. The intra-community, just on that same note, 2 spaces that fall under Students of Color at Columbia programming are Men of Color Alliance and our Women of Color Collective. You can also be a part of those listservs, and if interested, you can absolutely email me and I'd be happy to give you that link for the form. Both are basically just serving to, or seeking to serve as a space to either be of resource or support or offer opportunities for men of color and women of color, respectively, to be in community, be in solidarity, and potentially talk about some of those harder conversations. So for Women of Color Collective, for example, one of the first events that we've done in the last couple of years is a conversation on am I my sister's keeper? And we're critically thinking about with it as women of color, which is a large scope, how are we actively thinking about our own anti-Blackness, our own anti-Asian rhetoric, in particular, thinking global pandemic, and what's happening. So when I say I'm my sister's keeper, who am I really talking about, and how in action am I actively seeking to be there for support, for example. And they put on programming of that like critical conversation nature, but there's also general dinners that take place for both spaces and cohorts, outings, speakers have come onto campus for programming as well. And then aesthetically, because who doesn't love a good flyer, here are just some flyers of events that have taken place in the last year-ish. Yep, I think in the last academic year through Students of Color at Columbia programming. And again, that's general programming as well as programming for Men of Color Alliance and Women of Color Collective. I really want to now segue into like how to get involved. And I think this is a really great transitional point for then our Q&A piece. And I know that there's already some questions. So I encourage you again, just to add more and more questions to the Q&A piece that you have at the very bottom of your screen. Getting involved, I know that's probably something that's on a lot of folks' mind. Again, this year, different and complicated. But there's still the ability to get involved. And so when it comes to multicultural affairs, at least, two pieces that I really want to encourage folks to potentially apply to. First is our Student of Color Advisory Board. So we have an advisory council within multicultural affairs, and there are 4 of them, and each one is connected to an app programming area that I mentioned earlier. So our Students of Color Advisory Board is connected to our Students of Color at Columbia programming and overseen by me. Similar goes to our International Student Advisory Board, is connected to our International Student at Columbia programming and is advised by one of my colleagues within the office. And so this is basically an initiative that was created a few years ago within our department to serve as an advocacy group. It comprises of both CC and C students, so all of you. And our hope or our aim is to work collectively to advance not only the campus resources, but the visibility, I think, of resources and accessibility of support and services that are there for students of color at Columbia. So you can join the SOCAB space, as we call it. You, within the first few weeks, should get a general email about involvement. If you're interested in joining SOCAB, you can also email me, Max, one of our current students. He is a part of SOCAB and has been for the last year and change. So it is a really great way to get involved if interested. Again, we purposely hold spaces for first-year students in SOCAB, but also all of the other boards. So if interested in general in getting involved in an advisory board based on any identity you may hold and you're seeking to support, let me know. And then within multicultural affairs as well is our CMI, or our mentoring initiative. I've highlighted some of the trees that are there. Basically what CMI allows is for you to connect with an upperclassman as a mentor. And do you want to talk? We'll talk a little bit about that. I try to strategically pick the current students that y'all were going to talk to, but can talk a little bit more about CMI if anyone's interested. It's just a really great opportunity to connect with an upperclassman, have some mentorship and support, and it's still going on. So even though it may not be in person now, you'll have those virtual connections with a mentor. You'll still get connected with folks, and there'll still be even larger events that happen as a quote unquote family tree that you can be a part of. So super solid opportunity. If interested in both, I'm going to give you my email at the very end of this presentation. Please feel free to reach out about that. And then I'll also have the current students that have been involved in maybe an advisory board or CMI to also talk about that in a moment. Also thinking about getting involved. So I've shared the multicultural bit, but there's a lot of other ways to get involved. And in particular, I'm sure folks may be interested in joining a student club or organization on campus. There are literally hundreds on Columbia's campus that you can get involved with. I've highlighted a little more than a dozen But again, this is just like a taste of what's there. Knowing my current students, I know a lot of you are involved, and I tried to think about some of the organizations that y'all could talk about. I wanted to highlight some intersections. So you'll see that we have some cultural organizations on this list, such as African Students Association, Native American Council, Asian American Alliance, and the Black Student Organization. We also have, I wanted to highlight the fact that we have organizations like Proud Colors that highlight intersection of identity. So, so Proud Colors actively seeks to support queer folks of color on campus, right? Here's this intersection. It's important to note it and acknowledge it. We also have our Black Theater Ensemble that's around performance and dance, right? We have different professional organizations on campus such as SHIP, or the Society for Hispanic Professional Engineers, as well as NSBE, the National Society of Black Engineers. We have a Multicultural Business Association that I think Max is a part of. So there's a lot to get involved in, y'all. I wanted to highlight some, and I also wanted to just name a few ways that maybe you could get involved virtually. It never hurts to find this group's Facebook or Instagram and follow it, and look at that Facebook or that Instagram to know more information about maybe virtual programs that they're looking to put on. And then when the time comes, in-person programs that they're looking to put on. You can always email a student group. Many of the student groups have their own email address or at Columbia address. For example, BSO, or Black Students Organization, they're bso@columbia.edu. And then you can always check out our student government board's websites, and Columbia has several websites or several boards, governing boards, that you can check out. I think what would be really great now is to transition again into that piece. So we have a Q&A with current Columbia students. I'd love for y'all to maybe reintroduce yourself. And then I also have their contact information. So anyone who's interested in contacting folks, please do so. If y'all could reintroduce yourself, and then maybe, again, thinking of the transition of how to get involved, maybe talk about your own involvement and how you got involved with those student groups or cohorts or ... So I'm gonna now pass it on to y'all.
Yeah, so I'll go first since I guess I'm in the top left. I'm a rising sophomore at Columbia College. Some student organizations that I'm a part of are the Students of Color Advisory Board with Jaquise and the Multicultural Business Association in terms of like diversity type programming. Outside of that, I was a part of the Econ Society and AK Sci last year as well. So I think just a quick overview of what these things do. So Students of Color Advisory Board, we try and do programming for the general students of color populace, coming up with things that we find could use improvement. So this year we were looking at how resources are relatively fragmented and hard to find for incoming students, which is largely you all. So we spent a lot of time trying to piece together a comprehensive resource guide that would be available for like academic resources, for I guess just like internship resources, which I think we can answer later, which I saw in some of the Q&A. Multicultural Business Association helps find students like internships or recruiting opportunities specifically for students of color. So this could also be a good way to help further recruiting. Yeah, I'll leave it to whoever wants to go next.
I can go next. Hi guys, this is me again. My name is Jayla Alston. I'm a rising junior in Columbia College, double majoring in economics and ethnicity and race studies. I also want to say to Hassan, I saw you in the chat. I want to really push, like, guys, follow up. Like, I've known Hassan since he was in high school, and like now he's at Columbia because he followed up with me. I mean, obviously that wasn't all me. He's awesome, but please follow up. Like, we're here to help you, and we really want to help you transition into Columbia. So I'm gonna go down the laundry list of things that I do because I do a lot. I'm a poetry editor for the Justice Journal at the Eric Holder Initiative. I'm president and chapter founder of Shaping Her Earth at Columbia. I was a member of the Columbia Economic Society. I'm a Mellon Mays and Laidlaw Fellow. I'm a core scholar. I was an IRC resident. What's up with wealth inequality? I was VP of Hall Council. I also do organizing work with the Black Alumni Council, and I was a research assistant for Dr. Suresh Naidu, my fave. I do a lot. I do a lot around community building, and I also do a lot around econ and research. So I'm really happy to talk to all of you about how to get Columbia to give you money, about asking questions. I'm also here to help you about, like, you know, what questions that you may have about finding community. I'm actually from a public school in rural South Georgia, so obviously moving to New York City of all places was quite the adjustment, but I'm here to help you make that one. So y'all trip up a little bit less than I did. So yeah, I you know, I love Columbia. I really do. I've loved my time at Columbia. I think I've grown, but I was also very intentional about thinking about the person that I was coming in and the person that I wanted to be. So I would really urge all of you, reach out. We're here to help. I wouldn't be on this panel, not in school, like if I didn't want to help you. And whoever wants to go next.
All right, I'll go next. Once again, I'm Vero. I use any pronouns. I'm a rising junior, creative writing, ethnicity and race studies. Some things I've been a part of. I'm a board member of Proud Colors, which, like Hughes mentioned, is a student group for queer trans people of color. And we do a lot of discussion-based things. We do a lot of fun things too, viewings. We have fun. We've hosted voguing workshops in the past. They've been great. Another thing I have been part of, you know, I used to be an engineer. I was also part of the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. So what that group does is like a bunch of like Hispanic engineering students get together, and we do a lot of things to promote like helping your professional development. You know, we'll do like resume reviews, interview practice. We'll bring in companies and you can talk to them and they like recruit and stuff. Some people have even gotten like opportunities from those events that we hosted. We also go to the big national conference every year, which is like hosted wherever, and it's like all the different ship chapters and all the different colleges and some even high school come together, and there's a huge job fair, and like I know people who have gotten like crazy jobs from that also, so that's cool. I'm also community coordinator for Q House, which is another special interest community for LGBTQ students. We try to center Black and Brown students primarily because we're the ones who need the safe space the most. So what we do is we host both private and open events. So we'll have private events for our community to, you know, just get to know each other, to bond, to do cool things, but also we'll host public things so that other people can come and feel welcome into our space and be able to share in that community. I'm trying to be part of Shaping Her Earth with Jayla. You know, we're working on it. It's a new thing, but it's really cool. We're trying to support women of color in like all different types of ways. You know, you can get more into that later. But yeah, that's what I do. And if you have any questions on any of the things pertaining to those, please feel free to ask.
Well, y'all saved the best for last. My name is Emad Shahnushi once again, studying Econ and Middle Eastern Studies. I'm currently a president of the Columbia Iranian Students Association. I'm also a co-chair for the Arab and Middle Eastern Family Tree at CMI, the Columbia Mentoring Initiative, which we just talked about, so please reach out if you have any questions about that. I'm also a part of the Multicultural Recruitment Committee, which we really work with admissions to increase visibility for students of color. I was also a alma mater ambassador, which means that because I'm from an underrepresented region, I'm from rural Western Colorado, shout out Palisade. We essentially, Columbia, helped us go back home during the winter, speak to high schools, and gain visibility of what it's like to go to a school like Columbia. I'm also an IRC resident. Will be my second year in the IRC this upcoming year. And I was also a Presidential Global Fellow and a Craft Global Fellow, which essentially meant I got to go abroad for free on Columbia's dime. So if you have any questions about what it's like to go abroad or anything about how to make your experience at Columbia a global one without paying a dime of your own money, come to me.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Well, so as y'all can see, folks are quite involved on campus, as well as off campus. Looking at some of the questions that have popped up, I wonder if, how do I transition this? Well, so I would say, I think, again, these folks are quite involved, and student groups are one way to get involved. And sometimes folks aren't interested in joining a student organization, or a cohort of some sort, and that's more than okay as well. I'm curious if the panelists, looking at some of these questions, but also if y'all can talk about maybe how have you found community outside of that kind of involvement, whether it's in a residence hall or in some other way, shape, or form. If you can talk about how have you connected with peers, how have you found a community, and did being a student of color coming to Columbia impact that?
I can grab that. My friends will tell you, like, I'm very much the type of person that like will stop on the street and talk to people for hours. Like, I can't walk 5 minutes in any given direction on campus without seeing someone I know. And I was really intentional about that because I wanted, I'll say this much. People who want to be in community with other people are going to make that a priority for themselves. They're going to make themselves readily available to you. And I also would say that like anyone who is currently a student on that campus knows what they went through and they know how hard it was. I think things have definitely gotten better. There are a lot of intentional people on staff now, from my understanding, who are there to help students. But I was in your shoes 2 years ago, and I remember everybody who like was very intentional about making sure that I had community and reached out to me. I'm also from the South, so community is very big here. Friends are family. So I just very much am like intentional. Like, I talk to people in dining halls. I, would take classes in departments where I felt like students were looking for community, where I felt like, I was able to bring my whole self to school, right? Like, I mean, you'll hear people in professional spaces be like, can you bring your whole self to work? But like, an even crazier question is like, can you bring your whole self to the classroom? And I really like, I didn't just lean on my social, I didn't just lean on my extracurriculars to be places that I found community. I was really intentional and to a degree aggressive about making sure that I made people feel included in that, in that I was included, right? And so I would definitely say is not easy, but like there are people out there who are looking to be in community with you. You're muted.
I'd like to say the same thing that Jayla said. Like, from the moment I met Jayla, like we've been so close, and like we just started laughing and hugging. Like every time I see Jayla, is a pleasure on campus. We'll run into each other and just talk and laugh. And like there are people on campus that do want to have community with you, and like those are like the people you look out for, And I'll say like I was very lucky that I was part of the academic success program. So it's a program that Columbia has that admissions chooses students to be part of this program. So it's about 60 or 70 students that come to campus in the summer. I know this year it's online because, pandemic, but students would usually come to campus and take classes and do enrichment things and also do fun things in the weekend. So it'd be like a month in the campus to get to know people that are also like from similar backgrounds as you. And I was also a counselor for that program last year. So I was very lucky that I was able to meet people beforehand and have that group. But, of course, like I branched out from that group, and some of them are still like my best friends today, but I branched out and I met other people like Jayla, like Imad, that are like my friends and people that I really enjoy on campus. And, I'm very lucky to be part of like Q House, this community where I live, and like some of the people that I live with now, I would have never met otherwise. And it's very awesome to have like such a diverse group of people where like, yes, we have this one thing in common, but like we're all so different and we all still learn from each other and grow together and like have this community. And student groups, like, like Jaquie said, they're not everything to finding community, but I have found a lot of community in my students group as well. Like Proud Colors is like my family. I love that group. Like we have our group chat and we'll talk about our professional things, of course, but we talk about a lot of personal things, and they're my friends, and I look forward to every Sunday like e-board meeting, you know? And so there's a lot of different ways to find community. Even in classes, you know, there will be those people that when somebody says something and you look at each other like, hey, like, you know, and you're like, what, or something, or, you know, anything like that. There are those people in class too that you'll run into or you'll meet. And like, there's just so many different ways that you can meet people on campus. And because it's not such a big place, it's easy to find those people and like see them walking through campus and see them like in learner, in dorms, even dorms. Like, I know some of you might not be returning and that will be a little difficult, but for those who are, and like, you know, I don't really know what things are going to look like, but living on the same floor as people and like being friendly in the hallway and like in lounges and talking to each other. Some of my like really close friends are people who lived in Wallach with me in my first year, you know? So there's so many different ways that you can get to know people. And like, as a student of color, you know, I try not to let that like be like, oh, you know, somebody's from a different background than me, they're not gonna understand me. You try to be open first, and you know, people will show themselves too eventually. And like, if you know somebody ends up not really vibing with you or like doesn't really understand you, like that's okay. Like, you don't have to be in community with them, and you can be intentional about that. And you know, but there are people that you will vibe with that might be from a different background or not really understanding, or like will learn to understand, or like you will understand them as well. Like, it's not so limiting if you don't let it be. So that's all I really gotta say. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. I actually think that gives a really great segue to one of the questions that were plugged into the Q&A. So I'm gonna read it verbatim and then ask y'all to answer. So the question is, do you feel that Columbia was more or less accepting? And was it a struggle to transition to Columbia's life, especially as a student of color?
So I'll say two things, right? A lot of my friends were first and low income people of color in my first year. So I wasn't really around like the typical Columbia student per se. But even so, amongst like, you know, white kids from Connecticut who went to boarding school, like a lot of them actually like are trying their best. They just have never met anyone like you. And so like obviously there are going to be assholes everywhere you go, but like there are also going to be people who like are just trying to figure out how to be in community with you, and not like make you feel uncomfortable. And like obviously learning other people is difficult, but like, you know, for example, like coming into my friendship with Vero, like we both come from traditions of people who were oppressed. So like we could have that conversation and that understanding, and like there didn't necessarily need to be a fleshed out or you know very deep and thoughtful conversation about how to hold space with me or for me, whereas like people who have never met a person like you are going to struggle in a different way, but like that doesn't mean that they don't want to, right? And so I would definitely say that I think that Columbia was very accepting, but I also came from like the deep South in a town where like the most notable thing that happened in the past century per se was a double lynching. So like, you know, I come from a very different background, and like I really do feel like people are trying their best, but I would also say that like New York is made up of transplants who are looking for a reason to be antisocial. So like it comes in ways, right? Like I said, anyone who wants to be in community with you is going to be intentional about that. They will find you, you will find them. And it'll happen how it happens. Also, don't be married to your first year friend groups. Don't, because you'll be fine. Like I promise you, you're in New York City with millions of people. Even if you make friends that don't go to Columbia, you will be fine. So don't think that the people that you meet in INSOP or the people that you become friends with out of that like freshman desperation of like, will I have friends, are going to be there for you always, or like that they have to be there for you always, right? Like I've heard a lot of professionals be like, undergrads are entitled, like, you know, very entitled people. And so just be aware of that, right? Like people are people, they fail you sometimes, and that's okay. You'll fail them sometimes, and that's okay.
Perfect. Max, or would y'all like to
Yeah, I
Nader?
can kind of answer that one. So my experience was kind of different uh, because I'm from like a very white town in Western Colorado. I was like the only Iranian student within like a 50-mile radius, if not more, like in the whole school district. So for me, coming to Columbia was kind of like expanding my horizons because it was just a lot more diverse than my high school was. But like luckily I've had like the opportunity to like live back in Iran and kind of be in with community of people who understood my experiences. But really the coming to Columbia was a breath of fresh air for me personally, because I think being finally able to gather a community of more than just you and like your other person of color friend who went to that same school, um, it was really helpful. And like garnering that community, like Jayla said, people who want to build community with you will do that, and they will be there for you throughout the end of the day. But what I will say is like just like Jayla said, there's going to be people that rub you the wrong way. But like the best advice I ever got from my mama was be good with everyone, be great with a few. So really just keep your connection, just be nice to everybody. And you, because you never know like where at the end of the day like that kindness can come back regardless of who that person is. Columbia, just like be nice, but really keep your core stable of the people that you can rely on. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to talk to them every single day, or like you have to be like the closest of people. Just recognizing that there are people across this campus that are here for you regardless. Like for example, I know that like if I ever need anything, I can always go to like Vera or Jayla, like regardless, right? And so it's important to find those people on campus that you can kind of link with and recognize that, hey, like these are the people who are my ride or dies and will like support me till the end. And it's really it's significant to recognize a lot of lifelines that you may have when things get hard and when things are good. You know, like share your joys and get help with like the lows that you may have.
Yeah, I think speaking to what Jayla said, I found Columbia to be relatively like accepting. I went to a private school in Texas where our graduating class was 96 people. So it's like people that we've seen, like you know everyone there, and you're kind of like stuck with them for the however many years. So technically it was like a first through 12th grade school. So 10, 12 years, you're stuck with the same people. I think Columbia having many more people and just like people of all different backgrounds and different beliefs made it like infinitely more accepting, and I guess expanded my horizons in the same way it did for Iman. Simply because like there are some people that you will really love and some people that will sort of piss you off sometimes. But you come to realize that like for those that annoy you, you don't really have to deal with them because there are like thousands of people still in your like I guess graduating class at Columbia, and even more in like grades above and just all around you. Like it's New York, so inherently there's a lot of people with a lot of different experiences that you can learn from and or connect with. And like no one's going into freshman year or going into their dorm trying to like piss you off in general. It's just sometimes you don't agree with some people, but for the most part everyone's trying to make friends with you. Everyone's trying to, you know, be a relatively nice person, especially within like the first year when you are first trying to get to know each other, taking the same classes, etc. So I think Columbia is relatively accepting. I also found it really nice that it's really easy to get involved in a lot of these multicultural type communities. I was never really a part of anything like this in high school, but I think it's really been eye opening to be a part of it in college. So I think just the ease of access to a bunch of different resources and just the sheer amount of people that you can connect with is what makes Columbia better than I think high school was for me.
Thanks, y'all. I want to be just aware of time, and so maybe we can transition. There's been a couple of questions around academics.
Mhm.
So the first question that we have here is if Vera and Jayla, if y'all can talk a little bit more about ethnicity and race studies, maybe which classes you've taken, and what's made them interesting or what made you interested in the subject matter.
I'll defer to Vero first because I've spoken a lot.
I mean, me too, but okay. Last semester I took Intro to Comparative Ethnic Studies because it was a global core. I was just trying to get rid of the requirement. And then as I was taking this class, you know, it touched on a lot of different topics within the major. And, you know, they were very encouraging about people joining the major. And it was funny to me because I feel like a lot of those topics were things that as a student of color I knew about, or things that I had already like read about or like experienced, different things like that. And for me, I found the class like really easy, but I knew for students who didn't come from a similar background as me, or students that have not experienced things in relating to their race or ethnicity, that it was all brand new. And so it was just really interesting that, you know, they were teaching these things that I just like, I was like, oh, like this should be common knowledge, you know? And as I looked online at the class directory and like looking at all the different classes in the major, you know, I went to the major open house and all the professors were super kind and like open and welcoming and like really want people to study it. And so when I decided to do creative writing, part of that major is like to do 3 relevant courses. It could be in different departments, but it has to like, you know, relate to like what you want to write about. And what I do want to write about is like my experience as a person of color and like my queerness and like how those things intersect. Like that's something that's very important to me to write about. And so I knew my 3 relevant courses were going to be within like the Department of Ethnicity and Race Studies. So I thought, you know, why not just go ahead and make it my concentration and like actually get a deeper understanding of this topic. And like special, you know, I would specialize in Latinx studies, but to get a deeper understanding of this and understanding of like Latinidad and how it relates to like specifically in the US, because, you know, that doesn't really exist like outside of the US. Like in Latin America, like it's what country you're from, your nationality, but for here, like Latinidad is important. So like I really wanted to study the difference between those and like why it exists and all the different intricacies, because, you know, these are things in our history that don't primarily get taught. And so I want to make sure that I know about these things and like I'm able to communicate them properly. And it's a really cool department in general. All the professors are super kind and like really willing to help you. Yeah.
So were you going to say something, Jaquise?
No, go for it, Jayla. I would say just being aware of time. If you can keep it a little shorter, we'll go into another question.
Yeah, definitely. So for me, it was kind of a multifaceted approach, right? I was between African American studies and ethnicity and race studies, but I also knew I was going to major in econ, and econ was not really like, you know, come here, study this. Like they were kind of like, we have 300 majors every year. If we lose one, that's just one less person we have to worry about and advise. And I also was like trying to ask questions. Like I knew I wanted to do research, right? Like I came to a research university. I chose Columbia just as much as Columbia chose me. And so the first class that I took with CSER was conflict urbanization, Puerto Rico Now. It was a grad class. I was taught joint between the CSER department and also between the Graduate School for Architecture, Planning, and Preservation. Second class I took was Methods in American Studies, which was another graduate class. I have not taken any of the intro classes because I jumped headfirst into the electives. And I really enjoyed that because I wasn't allowed to take electives for econ until after I finished the prereqs, which were like a bunch of really heavy theoretical classes where I wasn't getting a lot of support. I came into CSER because CSER really wanted me there. Like, I think the history of CSER is just as important in understanding why you should major, because CSER is pretty much one of the only departments, aside from maybe IRAS, that was like born out of protests by students. Like,
Shayla, can you just, instead of saying the acronym, can you tell folks what IRAS and CSER are?
Oh, yeah. IRAS is the Institute for Research in African American Studies. They're actually a full department now. So they're African American and African Diaspora Studies, and then CSER is the Center for the Study of Ethnicity and Race. And, you know, the Center for the Study of Ethnicity and Race was actually born out of student protests. So like, alongside like the IRC, alongside Multicultural Affairs, like, and they really do make students feel like they are important and valued in that space. And so I was looking to feel valued. Like I didn't feel valued in my other major. And so that really brought me in. Like, I mean, Josephine, every time I come through, like, she's just like, this is my kid, like almost. And I'm also a creative. So, you know, Dr. Paredes, she just really like was a woman after my heart. Like when I found out she did poetry. And so it really was just a perfect match. But I went where I felt wanted. I went where I felt I had community. And I also went where the topic matter was relevant to the research I was doing.
Thanks, y'all. I want to plug two of these questions and maybe morph them into one. We have one person asking about how folks found an internship and someone asking about your experience with research at Columbia. So we kind of blended those two together. Could one or two folks talk about maybe your experience with research at Columbia and getting funding for that research, but also thinking of just professional development in general, research and internship?
I can speak with that. So one of the benefits of the Fly at Columbia program is that like you kind of get like a backstage pass to the career fair every year. And honestly, like even if you're a first year or sophomore, just go to the career fair. There's honestly a bunch of recruiters that just want to talk to people. So go and talk to them. I think like one of the best like benefits of just like being able to go to CCE and specifically the career fair as like a Fly student is that they really get to know you personally, and then they get to know like your like where you are, like who you are, the type of person you are, and they remember you if you do just like talk to them. I think every year there's the same repeaters of people, and it's usually the same recruiters that come. And so the career fair is hosted by our Center for Career Education twice a year, so in the fall and in the spring. And like the First Gen Low Income Partnership at Columbia is essentially what like takes you backstage before it even starts and helps you like get to know recruiters, recognize like what they're looking for, the type of applicant, and usually they're looking for people who are like juniors and seniors, but that shouldn't deter you because a lot of the times they have positions for underclassmen. And a lot of the times they look for underclassmen to like join their like, for example, a lot of different consulting and banking have their diversity weeks and like their intro to whatever company that they are, which they look for younger students to join. And another resource to finding fellowship for finding research is URF, which is like undergraduate research and fellowships, if I'm not wrong. They are a wonderful resource. Dean Ariella Lang and Dean Jody, I think. They're wonderful, wonderful people. Always here to help and support students. I got to do, yes. Yes, thank you, Jayla. Like I got to do research in Turkey over winter break, like through the Craft Global Fellowship, which is hosted by like the chaplain's office. So essentially, like we went to Turkey for a whole week. We visited 2 different cities, spoke with the Armenian, like the Armenian Patriarch, the Ecumenical Patriarch, the Grand Rabbi of Istanbul, and the Vice Mufti, and we got to like participate in a lot of like research there. I think Jayla can also speak about like what different types of research look like, especially like interdepartment research and like laid law. So I'm just going to pass that on.
Yeah, so first of all, if you have questions about internships, fellowships, networking, email me, because like my dad just told me today, he was like, you're like a walking networking person. Like if networking was a person, that's you. But I also don't think of it as networking. I told you guys I care a lot about people. So I'd just be excited to talk to people. So a couple of things I'm gonna plug. SEO, which is Seizing Every Opportunity, MLT, which is Management Leadership for Tomorrow. Those are 2 things you can do outside of Columbia. If you need help with the application, email me, they gave you that. I'm currently in MLT. I get direct contact with recruiters. I just finished their kickoff. So like I was able to talk to people who are recruiters at Disney, recruiters at the NFL, recruiters at like pretty much any company that you want to work for, they're there, right? And they give you all the prep that you need to be able to be successful. 90% of the students who go through the program have a job offer, not just an internship, but a job offer leaving the program after 2 years. Follow up with people, right? Like half of the time I give people my email and I'm like looking to take on a mentee, and then that person doesn't email me back. And like, I do so much that I know I can put you in front of the person and get you an opportunity. I had told like 20 freshmen last year, like apply to Laidlaw. Only one of them followed up with me, and you know what she got? Into Laidlaw. So now she's getting $3,000 and a free trip. All expenses is paid for off of Columbia's dime to do research on stuff that she wants to do. Intersectional and interdisciplinary research. I'm also a Mellon Mays Fellow. I networked with people. I asked students like, you know, what do I need to do to be a strong applicant for this? I'm very willing to do the same thing for you guys. You're eligible for Mellon in your sophomore year. Also, reach out to NSBE. It doesn't matter if you're Black. They will help you regardless of who you are. They have Google, Amazon, all of these different companies coming in all the time looking to talk to students. You go to Columbia, it doesn't matter what you what you majored in. If you want to work corporate, there are a lot of people who can help you get your resume up to industry standard. And I'm also a Bill and Melinda Gates scholar, so I got the inside scoop and all of that stuff before I even got to Columbia. But additionally, I'm gonna tell you, you're in New York, so you're around really cool people all the time who you may not know are cool. You may just be on the train with someone who just looks interesting, and maybe you can strike up a conversation. You're in New York though, so people might, you know, not want to talk to you. They might be like, who is this wacko? But yeah, I'm very happy to help with everyone. And then on the topic of research, I got my research assistantship because I noticed a professor that I had seen in my principal's class walking past me on College Walk. And I was like, oh my God, you're Suresh Naidu. And he was like, yes, I am. And I was like, I need to email you. And he was like, then do that. And so then I went in, and he was more than happy to help me as a first generation low income Black student who wanted to do research in econ and was not getting supported. And he is now one of my biggest supports. And I also did the American Economics Association summer program and just did the first year of PhD work for an econ PhD student. And so they can't tell me anything. So I promise you, there is money out there for you. I got paid very well this summer to do research that I wanted to do. I do econ and ethnicity and race studies work. And I'm very happy to help all of you and to coach you into that. I love little econs, I really do. So that's me.
I want to be just aware of time. We can stay a little bit longer, potentially, because I also acknowledge we are utilizing a third party to do this closed captioning, and I want to be respectful of their time as well. I want to just briefly answer the last two questions that folks had typed up. I'm going to share out again my screen of just contact information. And then again, if anyone wants to stay, we absolutely could stay in this space. Maybe there's just not closed captioning, if that's all right with the person doing the closed captioning. I don't know. So two questions that were still here. One of them, well, actually before, as far as internships go, I would also say really encourage folks to check out CCE, which is basically our career education center for career education. They put on intentional programming for students of color a couple of times a semester, but in general, they're just a really great resource for you. So please check them out when you're on campus, but also virtually, they're going to be having programs and resources still available to you. So the two questions, what programs are there that support students of color at C's? Multicultural Affairs as an office, we actively support C's and CC students. So both of them fall under our support. All of the programs that I mentioned that our office puts on, all available to you as a C student. As far as specific programs happening within a department or major at the School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, I would encourage you to connect with your admissions person, and they may have some more information, or really just connect with your advisor, your direct contact to that major. Could be really beneficial and provide you more nuanced information about what's available to you.
Also, NSBE and the Center for Student Advising has free tutoring. So I would definitely say to check out both of those opportunities. I've been working and organizing with students right now, and a really big issue is that there's not actually a specific advisor in CSA that helps advise engineering students. And I think that, you know, coming from a student of color background, especially if you're first and low income, you have a different set of needs. I'm really happy to help you because I've been on the econ track going toward a PhD. So I've done some of the STEM stuff, right? Like I've taken classes with more CZ type students. And I'm really happy to help in any way that I can, but also like CSA with the free tutoring, and also check out NSBE.
Free tutoring, and it's also an opportunity once you're an upperclassman to actually work as a tutor for Advising Center and make solid money. Vera, did you have another thing you wanted to add?
Yeah, along with NSBE, there's also SHIP, Society for Hispanic Professional Engineers. I think C's in particular, you know, they focus a lot on the science and math, the STEM of it all, and like the research, and they do have steps to take towards, you know, being aware of the different experience that students of color will have, but there is a lot of support on campus that doesn't come just from C's, like Decree said, like multicultural affairs, you know, SHIP, NSBE, there's QSTEM, there's a whole bunch of different student groups that give you all those like opportunities, and like there will be upperclassmen who might be majoring in the same thing as you that could give you opportunities, could help you, could tell you like which classes to take, which classes not to take, that can help you with like different things. Like CCE also helps with these things too, but I know these student groups do as well, like with resume reviews, interview practice, how to set up your LinkedIn, how to network, how to, you know, they'll bring in companies that you can talk to. You can talk to the company people themselves and like the recruiters and ask them what they're looking for. There's just like a lot of different things that you have to look out for. And like there's a lot of big things outside, and especially being in New York, that you can find as well. So it's more like, I will say, like, you know, C's has steps to go, but there are a lot of different groups that do support C students and do support you in your endeavors, and like will help you get those connections that you need to go where you want to go.
Perfect. And then the last question is, what does it take to get into a residence hall which harbors people or resides folks who share an identity, so that there's maybe an opportunity to be in a more familiar environment during our stay? Great question. As far as special interest areas are concerned, there are several, and you can actually just go through an application process. All students will be emailed an email highlighting what's available, and highlighting deadlines for the application process. So for example, the IRC is special interest area specifically focused around social justice. Folks just have an application process. There is an interview, and then if you are selected to be in the building, you will know, and it will be lovely. There are some nuanced requirements for the IRC than other special interest areas, but overall it's an application process. And if you are a student at Columbia, all of you will be getting an email from Residence Life highlighting what your options are. I saw a couple of hands up. Yes, go for it.
Do you want to go first, or?
It's okay. I don't mind. Go ahead.
I'll be really quick. So I'm community coordinator of Q House, you know, the LGBTQ living community. And, you know, it's very laid back. Like, we just want to make sure we have people that need the community, or people who like will benefit from being in our community. And so, like, you know, pop by, like, you can email me whenever, like, we'll have different events, like, come to our events. We're really chill, like, don't feel intimidated at all. You know, like, even if you don't get selected to live in the house, because there are limited spots, even though we wish we could accept everyone, you know, you're still welcome to come by and like hang out and just be in our community with us and come to our events. And like different groups use our spaces as well. So like, you know, just there's an application process. You apply, we'll interview you, and just be yourself, and, you know, talk to us. Like, don't be afraid to reach out. And that's all I got.
That's a great point. A lot of the special interest areas, they're still putting on programming for the campus, regardless of whether you live there. And that is a way to have a connection to folks that maybe have similar values or similar identities.
Yeah, I lived in the IRC last year, and I honestly feel really blessed to have done that. And I will be living there this year as well. It was just honestly a wonderful experience for me, all in all. Like, I think there was a lot of new people that I didn't know that I actually got to meet through the IRC, specifically the person who lived next to me. Their name was Aaron. And like all the time, they would like play music, and I would text, I was like, Aaron, turn that shit up. And then I would also like play like my like Persian music, and then Aaron would text me saying, "Hey, turn that shit up." And so like a lot of these anecdotes from living in the IRC is just that you get to meet some really, really cool people. You get to like create community with like people that you might not have really been around before. You get to live with people who are so, like Jayla lived right above me, right? And so every time like she would come here, I
I'm
was like, okay.
questioning my placement of folks now.
I was like, I know Jayla's here, because then she would knock on my door, say hello, and then go back up. You know what I mean? So I think like specifically like the IRC, it was a really great place for me. Like everyone was so nice, everyone was so cool, everyone cared about you, everyone like really bothered to like get to know you and like really create like a housing community. I know Columbia is very big, specifically like with first years of saying like your residential community, but like specifically with the IRC, I do believe that you do get to make a residential community. It's just a great experience.
Jayla, we are over, but I will let you chat. What would you like to say?
Okay, I would just like to plug, so like there's a house for FGLI students, there is PANAF, there is Q House, there is the IRC. I really sign off on everything Imad said. He would hear me up there doing Afro-Cuban dance above his head. That sweet baby, I'm so sorry. And also like the thing about living in a brownstone with your best friends is like you just start associating like certain sounds with their presence. And like I still feel that like to this day, it's like I knew like people knew I was in the house because they would hear me like coming up the stairs on the phone with my dad. Like my next door neighbor like used to be making beats and jams, and like it's such a different environment, right? Because like most of us are creatives, we're all interested in social justice and serving people, and like that's something you're not going to find everywhere. And so I would really, really plug the IRC. I would also say like, make sure that you know how to hold community with people and be there for people, because like doing that type of work is very hard, but like Jaquise is also a resource for you and is like always there to be helpful. And like literally one of the best people I've met thus far. So I come through Jaquise's office and I am foolish all the time. So like you have a community. But like in the IRC, people are like always chilling in the lounges and like there to be for you. I mean, they're there. They're there for you. Yeah.
I'm gonna now share just again everyone's contact information so folks have it. Feel free to grab these, connect with these current students. Again, if it's possible, we can spend a minute or two more in the large space, but I do want to be respectful of time. So here's everyone's name, pronoun usage, and email. I'm also going to provide you mine. So name, here is not only a general email for students of color at Columbia programming, gosh darn it, also our website. You can follow us as a office multicultural affairs via Instagram. You can like us. You can be a part of the student of color listserv. Just shoot me an email. Again, my email is jw3773@Columbia. And then lastly, folks have been mentioning the IRC. So fortuitous, after your first year, this is an availability for folks that are interested. Basically, it's 2 adjoining buildings that allow a connection for folks that are interested in social justice work. We have 34 folks that live there in total this year. Very different, but since y'all are first years, don't really have to worry about it. And like a few folks have said, it's just a really great community to be a part of. I am there and housed in my office to support folks, but it's really the students that are making it what it is. So I just want to highlight that. I know we have a few pieces in our chat. Okay, and everyone's giving their email. Awesome. Perfect. Yeah, if students want to, at this point, share out Instagram, share out email, share out anything, please feel free. What I'm going to do now is provide y'all that possibility. Let me stop my share. Got it. Okay, perfect. I've now activated it. Everyone who is still here, you can in the chat provide your email, provide your Insta as the attendees go forth. And then also, we can hang out for the next 5 minutes. If folks have any additional questions, put it in your Q&A, and please let us know. In general, I'm really curious if we can just wrap up with, for the folks on the panel or just our current students that are with us, maybe what's one thing that you wish you knew coming into Columbia or coming into your first year at Columbia, reflecting back now? So what's one thing you wish you would have known or done? One thing you would have done. Perfect, go for it.
One thing I really want to share is that, once you graduate high school, it's not like all your growing is done. It's not like suddenly you're an adult and suddenly you know how to do everything right and stuff. Like, be kind to others and be kind to yourself, and understand that you're still growing. You're going to continue to grow throughout your life, and you be kind to yourself and understand that you will be better. There's highs and lows, but the lows will bring you back to different highs. So just, be kind to yourself and understand, if things are difficult, you're not the only one going through it. A lot of people, I think almost everyone, is going through really tough things. And especially being, in the city, being in the school with this kind of culture, being somewhere where everyone feels such a pressure to do well and to do so much, be kind to yourself and understand your limits and your boundaries, and just harbor your energy, protect that, and make sure that you have support. You can reach out to any of us. There's so many upperclassmen and even your people in your class that will want to help you and be there for you. So, and people on staff as well, there's so many staff members that have helped me throughout my time. So just be open to reaching out to when you're having a tough
time. Something that I really wish I did, especially at the beginning, was just call your mom and dad and your family members. I'm very close with my aunt and my cousins. And so for me, it was really important to keep talking to them. And I thought to echo what Vero said, just you're not grown when you get here, you still need to grow. And call your family members, call the people who you've known for a very long time, call your old friends. Those connections will really help you get through I guess the bump of first year. And I wish I just had done that more. I wish I had called one of my family members every single day. So that's something I should pass along.
Perfect.
I'm thinking
I was gonna say, Max or Jayla, do you want to add anything?
I was just gonna say, I think what Vera said is absolutely right. Everyone's going through the same sort of difficulty, even if you don't think they are. Don't stress out too much when you first get there. It's not so much about finding your internship within the first 2 months of being in New York, or getting the same 4.0 GPA or whatever you had in high school. Right? It's sometimes you will mess up and slip up, and that's okay. It's sometimes it's just the moments where you're up at 4 a.m. and haven't started your homework assignment due the next day. Then you run into a friend and you're like, oh, you're here too. And you also haven't started. And it's just those sort of friendships and connections that will go a long way. So don't expect to have everything figured out in the first couple weeks. No one really does. It's just about having that collective experience that moves you.
I would second that. And I would say that if anyone is telling you that they have it all figured out, they're lying. I really think that Columbia students in general kind of do themselves a disservice by putting on this whole idea everything is perfect. I really would say go to therapy. There's a lot of stuff in life that you need to be unlearning, especially if you're a student of color, because life has been hard up until this point. Also think about who you are and who you would like to be by the end of this 4 years. and be really intentional about figuring that out. Like you know, do what you love, right? Like I think there are a lot of people who are letting other people tell them what they need to love and what they need to do. And they're putting off like their passions because they think they want to be a doctor or because their parents told them they have to be. And like that's not the best way to do things. Like I have been very intentional about putting my energy toward the things that I love and the person that I want to be, as opposed to like, you know, thinking that everything is going to be the same all the time. Like I know a lot of people who like, you know, especially during coronavirus, like this is a very unprecedented time and it's turned the world like upside down. But because of the philosophy that I have been leading my life by, which is, you know, like the world will do as it may, but I have to just worry about the things that I can control, and the only thing that I can control is myself. Like I've been fine because I'm worrying about myself and how to be my best self and my happiest self during this time. Not, you know, my 4-year plan has been fucked. Like, and so that's the best way I would say to move forward. And like, don't strive for perfection, strive for finishing.
Thanks so much, y'all. For the folks that have attended, I also immense appreciation and gratitude for the 4 of you, the students that are here talking to y'all. Also, in general, thanks for staying a little bit longer with us, folks. So at this time, we are just going to wrap up. Again, you have everyone's contact information. If you need anything else, please feel free without hesitation to reach out to us. If it's about getting involved in a particular student group that's been mentioned, or learning more about research, more about internships, really just anything and everything, please connect with us. If wanting to be a part of the listserv for students of color, please feel free to reach out to me about that. And come spring semester, if interested in still learning a little bit more about the IRC, come late fall, early spring semester, please feel free to connect about that as well. All right, we're gonna let y'all go. Have a fantastic rest of your week and have a fantastic weekend. Bye, y'all. Current students, if you can just stay with me for a hot second.
Bye,
Perfect.
everyone. Thanks
Bye,
for
y'all.
coming.
All right, I'm gonna stop the recording.